You're listening to the City World Radio Network, high-definition digital radio broadcasting from the city to the world. www.cityworldradio.com.
Hello, Bob.
Hello, Lou. Here we are.
How are you?
Once again.
I beat you to the punch this time.
It's okay. July 2nd, 2013. We are the three guys from Newark in Little Italy, broadcasting live on www.cityworldradio.com from the Time Warner Cable Building in New York City.
And I say special, I mean very special people. It's Brian Gari and Jeannie Gari, his wife. And Brian Gari began his recording career with Vanguard Records and wrote the music and lyrics for the Broadway musical, Late Night Comic. His songs have been recorded by such diverse artists as Margaret Whiting and The Tokens. He has recorded 12 albums and became the consulting producer and composer for the E! True Hollywood Story of the Beach Boys. He has also produced CDs for other artists, such as Neil Sedaka, the famous Neil Sedaka, and his grandfather. Guess who, folks? Eddie Cantor is his grandfather. Eddie Cantor. Believe that?
Your contemporary, Lou?
Yeah, my contemporary. And Brian's first book, We Bombed in New London, the inside story of the Broadway musical Late Night Comic, was published by Bear Manor Media, as well as his current one. A funny thing happened on the way to my stress test concerning his recent life-saving open heart surgery. Open heart surgery. More info at briangary.com. I'll repeat that. You can get more information on Brian Gary by using Brian Gary, BRIAN.com. So, wow, this is quite a powerful background you have here. Can you say that? Can you talk a little bit about the Eddie Cantor side?
Well, sure. I knew him till I was 12 years old, and he was a great man. Started the March of Dimes, certainly did his share of charity work, helped get people out of Nazi-occupied Germany, got the men, women, and children on boats out of that area there and saved quite a few lives. Certainly did a lot of work with the Heart Fund, which is ironic considering my bout with open heart surgery last year.
Yeah, tell us more about that. That would be so interesting.
It's
to hear.
incredible.
I know you wrote a book.
Yeah, I wrote a book called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to My Stress Test. And it's on my website, briangary.com. Gari is the spelling of my name. And what happened was, about a year ago, I went to my doctor and said, I'm a little bit short on breath. He says, well, let's do an EKG. Does an EKG. You're fine. Go out. Goodbye. And I said, okay, that's okay with me. So I thought I was just, imagining some stuff like that. And in the interim, I married a nurse. So, she's on, shall we say, on top of things? No, maybe that's a bad choice of words. But anyway, she noticed last year when my Broadway show was being revived, Late Night Comic. It was being done in Maryland. A wonderful production there by David Norman. When we were there and when I was coming back, I was still a little bit short of breath and just wondering what was going on. She insisted I go call my doctor again. I called my doctor. My doctor said, I think I got to send you to a cardiologist this time. I said, okay. So I call the cardiologist. I get an appointment for the next day. And he said, I want you to have a stress test. I said, well, what is that? He says, you'll come in tomorrow and you'll do the stress test. It's not that difficult. And I thought, I could pass this with flying colors. That's easy to do. You get on a treadmill and you run a little bit. Have you ever had one, you guys? You ever had a stress test?
Absolutely.
I get stressed enough being on this show. Are you kidding me?
I know.
Oh, yeah.
So I go for the stress test, and I think I'm going to do great. And after 5 minutes, he says, I want you to come to the hospital tomorrow and get an angiogram. I said, well, what does that involve? Well, we put you out for that. And I said, okay. And I said, what happens after that? He says, well, either we're going to put a stent in, and you'll go home like the next morning, or you'll just go home. It'll be all over. Nothing will be wrong. I said, okay. So I was going to go up there by myself, but my wife insisted that she come along to this event. And I guess I'm kind of glad she did, because I went and had the angiogram, which is painless. The reason why I wrote this book, by the way, is so that people will go ahead and do these things, and it will save your life. That guy from The Sopranos there probably should have paid attention.
He wasn't from The Sopranos. Oh, you mean James Gandolfi?
Oh, yeah.
Our
Oh,
buddy.
right,
No,
yeah,
that's
your guy, Jim.
That was our co-host,
Right.
James Napolitano, who we believe died of a heart attack.
A heart attack. How old was he?
41.
Oh, my God, very young. Well, I just turned 61, so I was 60 years old when all of this happened, which is ironic because it was the same age that my grandfather. What's going on here? You're worried about something here. My grandfather had his first heart attack at age 60. So the irony here is unbelievable, because the cover of my book has a picture of me with my grandfather. I was 2.5 years old, putting money in the heart fund. That in those days in the 50s they had that red heart, and you plastic, and you'd put the money in there. Well, that's what happened, and he had a heart attack during that time, so he was really promoting the heart fund. So here I am, same age, and I'm being told not only have a stress test, not only have an angiogram, but when I woke up from the angiogram, I said, what's happening? Am I going home? Nope. I said, oh, you put a stent in? Nope. I said, well, what else is there? And they said, you're having open heart surgery in the morning, and it's quadruple bypass. So I decided during this time, you don't even have a chance to get scared, because you're there in the hospital already, and you just have to go through with it.
There's nothing you can do.
Well, I think that they purposely did that with me, because if they had let me go home, I might have panicked. It didn't seem like something that I would panic about, but you could possibly.
I never went.
Yeah, exactly. So I was there, and I figured, well, I guess I got to stay. So I did, and during the hospital stay, I began work on this book, because there are a lot of things that happen in the hospital that you've got to know about if you're going to go through something like this. So I really wanted to make this an interesting book, a humorous book. Part of it is tough, but I wanted people to know that they should really get out there and question their health, and that's why I wrote the book.
Oh, excellent.
I think it's a contribution to society, no question
No,
about that.
because he's thinking of others, too.
He's telling you what his experience was and what you need to do to save your life.
And we hope some people listen.
Exactly.
And I want people to know out there, you're looking at me right now. This is the way I looked last year, too, right before I had the operation. I'm not overweight. I'm not a big drinker. I don't smoke. I do like ice cream. I do, I like Italian food. So, but it can happen to anybody.
Sure, that's the whole key.
And there's heredity involved too. Don't forget. So,
And you got a beautiful wife.
Well, I'm a lucky man in that sense.
In more ways than one. God bless her.
Yes.
And she's also a nurse. Jeannie, you'd like to say a few words?
Well, it's just a pleasure to be here. And I did. He was having symptoms, and I'm just happy that he listened to me and he went to the cardiologist, and everything turned out fine. I actually do have a chapter in the book when
beautiful.
When they wheeled him back to the operating room. I kind of took over for that period that he was out, and the last words I remember him saying was, "Are you going to crack open my chest now?"
Yeah, you got to know that this book, it was an interesting way that I put it together. When it came to the operation part, obviously, I was out of it for about 12 hours. And I said to Jeannie, you've got a story to tell here, too. Tell your chapter. So she wrote a chapter of the book when I couldn't.
How do they get to buy one of these books?
You can go to BrianGary.com, BrianGari.com, and you'll see my book right there. A funny thing happened on the way to my stress test.
Okay, folks, you got that. BrianGary.com. Brian, tell me more about Eddie Cantor. What kind of a man was he, really?
a very, very kind man, and also a man of conviction. And he did his job in every single way. Like he always wanted to be known as Eddie Cantor, the man, rather than Eddie Cantor, the celebrity. He put Sammy Davis on his show when nobody else wanted to put Sammy Davis on TV. He put people like Thelma Carpenter on. He discovered a lot of people. He discovered Dinah Shore, Eddie Fisher, Deanna Durbin, Bobby Breen. All these people were all discoveries on his show. So he did a lot of work. Did a lot of different work.
Those old guys were so diversified, so
Mhm.
talented. I mean, they're coming from the vaudeville acts. It's amazing how well-rounded that the vaudevillians became. They got into vaudeville, but they could do almost anything after they did the vaudeville.
Well, and think about it. They didn't have Facebook and all these other things back then to become celebrities. They had to do it state by state, city by city.
They had talent.
Yep.
Now, let's talk about your songs. What would you say your style is? What is...
Well, probably pop, because my influences were people like the Beach Boys and Brian Wilson and Jimmy Webb,
Neil Sedaka?
Neil Sedaka for sure. All those great writers at Screen Gems, Don Kirshner's office, like Jack Keller and Helen Miller, Goffin and King, Mann and Weil. These are all great songwriters. Doc Pomus and Mort Schumann. Pete Andreoli and Vince Poncia. They were the Trade Winds, and New York's a Lonely Town, and the Vidells. If you remember the kind of doo-wop group called the Vidells, they were
That's my type of singing.
Yeah, yeah. So they all influenced me. Tremendous amount of songs that influenced me during that time. So I became a kind of a pop writer. The British Invasion certainly influenced me. I was 12 years old when the Beatles came along, and I bought every record by the Beatles and Freddie and the Dreamers and Jerry and the Pacemakers, all those groups. So that's what made me write songs. I started writing at 12 and haven't stopped since.
Well, your first song, it's called He's an Old Cat.
Yeah, that's the title of my current album, He's an Old Cat, and you can take whatever you want out of that
All
song.
Then let's hear it. He's an
Okay.
Old Cat by Brian Gary.
Just a skin and bones, and he purrs right through his bones. He's an old cat. He can barely stand, and he eats out of your hand. He's an old cat. And he waddles back and forth, doesn't know who's south from north, but he's got such a great deal of poise. He's an old cat, but he's still one of the boys. He's got one eye shut, you can't miss his hanging gut. He's an old cat. Don't know how he reached the stage, he's amazing for his age. He's an old cat. And he wears a silly grin, doesn't know why he came in. He forgot he hid all his toys. He's an old cat, but to me he's one of the boys. He's really such a handsome lad, resting on his wee pad. No one's gonna fault him for that, 'cause one day we'll be in his place, hoping we'll have style and grace, but ending up just like this cat. He sleeps all day long, when he used to be King Kong. He's an old cat, but he's quite alert, even when he wets your shirt. He's an old cat, but I wouldn't give him up for a kitten or a pup. They're all just a little high-strung. He's an old cat, but it's okay not to be young. It's okay not to be young. It's okay not to be young.
You know what I have to say? Isn't that fabulous, Bob?
Yes, it is. It's
And,
such a nice sound.
what I have to say is to Brian, and this station, we broadcast all around the world from most countries, and that song probably it's the furthest it's ever gone
All right.
as of this date. But Brian has many friends out there. I'm sure he'd like to say hello to
Sure,
them.
Brian. Come
Well,
on.
I've got a lot of Facebook fans out there. God, a couple of thousand, I think.
Say hello to
and
all of them.
well, hello
Not
to
individually, though.
all my Facebook fans who are listening, because I did promote this on Facebook the last couple of days. And of course, my mom is listening, Janet Gary. She's out there.
Hi, Miss Gary. It's a pleasure.
She has books out too, you know. My mom has 3 books out right now, published also by Bear Manor Media, and she's working on her autobiography right now. So, and this is all at 85 years old.
Oh, God bless her.
Not bad.
Keep going.
God bless you.
Jeannie, how about your folks? Say hello.
Hello, Mom and Dad in Freehold, New Jersey, and to the Zappi family in Long Branch, New
All
Jersey.
right, the Zappi family.
And there's a lot of them.
There, we had a lot of Zappis in Newark.
Yeah.
Did you know any Zappies?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
That's originally where I think my grandparents were from.
That's a very
Really?
popular name.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And,
Zappi used to hang around with
but,
Knee High and those guys, you know.
You
They
know,
didn't do music like you.
it's great though that she has such a musical name, because I wrote a song about her name, and it was so easy to rhyme Zappi. I mean, you could do sloppy and
No, it was sloppy.
It was the funniest song.
I played it at our wedding.
Beautiful. Too bad we can't play it.
No,
You know what? It's
well,
special.
that one is it's never been recorded.
Oh,
so
okay. That's good. Let's keep it that way. Then. That's all right. That's fine.
and you know, I think you were going to play this other song of mine too. And by the way, I hope people call in, because I'd love to talk
Yes,
to
we've
some of the
been
people.
asking. Come on and call in.
What's that number again?
The number is 201-590-2490. Please call in. Say hello to
Well,
me, to
Call
Brian,
in,
to
Yvonne.
Jeannie,
All our folks. Call in.
anybody.
And speak to Brian. Man has a lot of talent and has a tremendous amount of experience.
And maybe they'll want to talk about this next song, because I know you were mentioning that you were going to play this other song of mine.
Go ahead.
The song has quite a history to it. I wrote this song when I was hanging around with Ellie Greenwich. Now, you guys may not know the name.
The village was named after.
Yeah, right. The bank. No, Ellie Greenwich wrote songs with her husband at the time. She wrote songs like "Be My Baby," "Chapel of Love," "Leader of the Pack," "Hanky Panky," "Do Run Run," all these songs. And we were friendly. And she told me she wrote all these songs with her husband at the time. They got divorced, never wrote songs together again. But the songs kept coming back. Sean Cassidy did "Do Run Run." I said, you know, this would make a good idea for a song. Shouldn't we write this together? And she said, yeah, we'll get around to it. I went home that night and wrote this next song.
Chiffon, Shangri-La,
all
the
those
groups you're
groups.
naming sound those
The
songs.
Ronettes.
Right,
So I wrote this song called "If Our Songs Still Make It, Why Can't
Let's
We?"
hear it.
We got together and wrote a song. We had some hits before too long, and we were married for a while, but somehow survive just a handful of tears. If our songs still make it, why can't we? If we could just go back to 63 and you could be my baby
I should
again.
mention where they get the album.
Put that on the air. Yeah, sure.
That was If Our Songs Still Make It, Why Can't We? From the album He's an Old Cat by Brian Gary. You can get that album at briangary.com.
How do you spell your last name?
Gari.
Thank you.
Thank you.
BrianGary.com.
Yeah, it's very nice. These two songs, they're very nice, excellent. I like them, and so I enjoy your singing. I mean, it's kind of like a throwback, but not. It's in that realm where any era can play it.
I would think so. I used to do this song live all the time. It was my closing number usually. I used to perform at the comedy clubs in between the comedians like Jerry Seinfeld and all these guys, Larry David. This was the comic strip, Catch a Rising Star, and the Improv. They used to sandwich me in between all these acts, and that was one of the songs that I would always close with, and it always got a great response.
It reminds me of some other songs in the back of almost the same genre but different styles. Barry Manilow, I write the songs. Frank Sinatra then sang I sing the songs. There was another one.
You know who wrote I Write the Songs?
No.
One of the Beach Boys.
Oh, one of the Beach Boys.
Bruce Johnston.
Bruce Johnston.
Yeah, he wrote that song. He says Barry Manilow ended up paying for his house.
Wow.
So that's how.
And then he had another song, which is, and I'm thinking about it too.
Who,
Put
Manilow?
on that old 45.
Oh, that's a nice
Yeah,
one.
now they're beautiful. And then there was a country and western singer who also talked about the 45 and love, but I forgot the name of the song. But that's what that's in. That's what reminds me.
Yeah, that song that you're thinking of is called "The Old Songs," and it was written by
Bring
David.
back the old songs.
Right, written by David Pomerantz and
Yeah.
Buddy Kaye, I believe.
Yes, you know that's the mark of a really nice song is that when you hear one song, you can think of other songs that remind you of that song, and I like that. I like that. That's my mind start wandering. It always wanders anyway, because I'm a wanderer.
So what's the matter? You're not getting any phone calls about?
Nah, most people, you know what? They like to listen.
Well,
Okay, so let them listen.
Well.
You know, we haven't. I don't know how about the other shows with their phone calls, but we don't get many. But I guess they're trying to listen.
Well, I
so.
tell you the truth, I'm extremely impressed with this man's talent, what he's achieved in his lifetime. Boy, your family has to be proud of you.
Now, you're diversified. You wrote a book. You wrote other things.
2 books.
I got here in front of me and just
Yep.
happened to got it. I don't know why I got it, but it's here. It's a stage play.
Yes, this is an album that I did. We're coming up on the 25th anniversary of this show.
Right.
But this was the 20th anniversary edition of my Broadway show called Late Night Comic. And on this 20th anniversary edition, not only do we have the original orchestrations by Larry Hochman, who did the Book of Mormon orchestrations, but listen to the lineup we have on this. We have Liz Calloway, Mario Cantone. You probably know Mario Cantone.
Yes.
Jason Gra, Rupert Holmes. Brian Darcy James, Liz Larson, Howard McGillen, Julia Murney, Daniel Richard, who was in Jersey Boys. Tony Roberts, you know the actor.
Yes, Tony Roberts.
He's on this. Seth Rudetsky, Paul Schaefer. You know the name Paul Schaefer, right? Mary Testa, Marty Vidnovic, Sal Viviano, Karen Ziemba, and Chip.
And you wrote all the music for
Chip
this?
Zion. Yeah.
Next week, due to our time constraints, we can't play this, but next week I'm going to play some cuts from this.
Okay.
In honor of you.
Thank
in
you.
honor of your coming to the show, and also bringing your wife. We have to bring her in. And
Hey, she came here for the coffee. She loved the coffee.
And this reminds me of something else. Louis.
Okay, guy. Lou, you had a question for me, I think, right?
Yeah, I thought maybe you're going to be appealing a little bit for your family and relatives out there.
Yeah.
That are waiting for you to say hello.
Well, yeah, I'd like to say hello to.
I know they're out there listening.
Yeah.
And while we're waiting, if they're going to call, I just want to bring it to the attention that last week, Louis, along with Ann Roselli, was top billing at the Il Cortilli restaurant on Mulberry Street. Let me tell you something.
We were there.
You were there. It was a packed house, Louis.
Yeah, thank you.
And it was a great show.
Sold out.
Yeah.
In fact, to me, the best
We
part.
had one seat left, actually.
The best part of that show was your host or MC. He was, I mean, not only good looking, but he was so wonderful with his words.
Wasn't
Who
that
did
you?
have? Oh, that was me.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
No, I was just there because Louis had asked me, and of course I do it for him. He's my
I don't know
partner.
what was better, Lou or the spaghetti that I had. I don't know.
Oh, that's going to be tough.
Right.
Well, I think I got my vocals were better.
They were. They were good. You were in good voice because we've been, your voice has been giving you trouble for the past few months.
Yeah.
But you were in rare form and a packed house.
And I was lucky. I went home with a copy of "I Wish You Love"
There you go.
that he did.
That's the 9,000
I hope
copy
you enjoyed
given.
that.
Yeah,
That is
absolutely.
beautiful. That is so great.
Very beautiful.
Well, coming from you, it's a tremendous compliment.
Well-
I thank you for saying
Now-
that.
I'm glad you made that record.
Jeannie,
Thank you.
how's the nursing profession?
Well, actually, right now I'm in a transition. I'm sort of going into insurance sales. Believe it or
Oh,
not, I've been
wait,
a
what?
nurse for
Whoa.
28 years, and maybe I'm having a midlife crisis. But I'm
That's okay.
just passed my state insurance exam, and I'm going to start
Hey,
selling
you got to
insurance.
pursue whatever you want to pursue. But before that, when you were a nurse, hospital or private?
Believe it or not, well, I started at Monmouth Medical Center,
Right.
where I was born in Long Branch, New Jersey, and I mainly worked in labor and delivery and pediatrics,
Right.
maternal child
Oh,
health.
great.
Yeah.
So you must have
And-
saw a lot of wonderful things there.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, they are miracles, aren't they?
They are. They are. I have 3 of my own.
And beautiful. What do you have?
I have 2 girls and 1 boy in the middle.
The oldest?
The oldest is 30, Nicole
Right.
Zappi. And then Carter is my son. He's
Right.
19. And Mackenzie is 18, just graduated high school.
All right.
So,
Congratulations.
thank you.
Graduating high school. Excellent. That's
Yes.
a big thing.
And I've got family out there, and
You do too.
yeah, I think
I thought
West.
you were an orphan.
No, I mean like in New Jersey. She comes from New Jersey. I think they're in West Long Branch now because they moved. They were in Brick. They were in Long Branch. They're in West Long Branch now. I think Nat Garitano, who
Right.
is actually a drummer in New Jersey and has played it with a lot of people that you probably know. I can't recite their names, but he's a great guy, Nat Garitano, and he's my uncle and his beautiful wife, and they live out there in West Long Branch.
And he's a great drummer.
Yeah,
Good,
yeah.
good.
In fact, he played drums for me one time. I went out there to surprise him for his birthday. I came there with my father, his half brother, and he played drums for me while I was performing out there.
Now, when
so-
you perform, do you perform with a band or a trio?
What I've done most of my life is either play guitar or piano in places. I'm self-contained for the most part. I like to play my songs on the piano because most of them are piano based. But unfortunately, a lot of the clubs where I played, the piano was facing the wall. You know that
right,
thing,
yeah.
right? And I don't know what it is. Pianos are great instruments. It's the main instrument for most people, yet they're treated so shabbily in nightclubs. They're
Unless you have a keyboard that you can bring with you.
Right,
Like,
right.
There's nobody has pianos. It's like a lost art.
They put it up against the wall. And I remember going on at Catch a Rising Star, and they used to give us $5. That was our. They call it cab fare, but of course a lot of us just used to keep the money and walk home, But they give us $5, and in order to get the $5 one night, I didn't have my guitar with me, so I got up and I sat at the piano, but my back was to the audience, and here I am doing the songs, and the audience is talking away. What do? You have no choice. The piano faces the wall. So that's where I played piano, but most of the time I played guitar, and I would learn my songs again on the guitar, and then I put sheet music out in front of the piano player, and maybe they'd have a drummer if we were lucky, or a bass player if we were even
Ooh, wow,
luckier.
you're really going big time.
Oh, I know, but I never really had a band other than when I was like 13 years old.
Okay.
It costs too much money, and you know what it is? I grew up in Manhattan, and unlike you guys out in New Jersey, where you have a garage and you can rehearse your band, I had no place to rehearse. If you rehearse in an apartment, you get thrown out. So I had to keep it quiet. So I played piano and guitar on my own.
So you know how to keep it down.
Yeah.
We got about 1 minute to go before the last song. This time has gone by, but it's gone by because of you two guys so interesting, and my
Very much
co-host Louie. That sometimes we just we run out of time. But it's been very interesting. We'd like to have you back too, huh, Lou?
Absolutely.
I'm sure there's a lot
absolutely.
more we can pick his brain.
Yeah,
and,
there's a lot more to talk
you
about.
know.
There's a lot more questions I can ask him.
And I want to thank everyone for calling.
Well, you know what? I got to
Don't worry, don't give it no thought.
They didn't call because they're so interested in what we're talking about and listening to the songs. that they're mesmerized.
You know what I think they're doing? I think they're online right now buying my book and my album.
Excellent. And don't forget, me and Louie get 35%.
Okay. That's a big take.
Of the gross. Okay. Really nice having you here, Louie. It has been another nice night between us. It was
Yes,
very
it
good.
was tremendous.
Jeannie, wonderful having you here. And we're glad you were
Thank
here.
you.
In case anything went wrong, you'd be right over there. and Brian.
And believe me,
really
the three of us, you never know.
Hey, the two of you.
We hit the jackpot tonight.
But it was really nice having you here.
Great to be here.
Great to
And
be here. Thank you.
our last song we're going to end up, before I say, I want to say, I'm going to say it every night, I want to say goodbye to James C. Napadano. Wherever you are, Jimmy, and I know you're in a good place, we miss you, me and Louie. The show will never be the same, but we'll never forget you, and it'll always be the three guys from Newark and Little Italy. It'll never change, because you'll always be a part of us, and you always were the moving factor in this. We miss your smile, and we'll meet again someday. So get some new jokes, huh? Now our last song, say goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Louis.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Gracie. No, say goodbye, Gracie.